Information. Question number 6, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, this question is to the Prime Minister and asks, does he think it's important that his ministers, including himself, come to the House prepared to honestly answer questions?
Well, that's a smidgen different from the wording here. I'm not sure whether it's material. It's not hugely different, but the wording here is slightly different. Is it the Right Honourable Winston Peters? It's quite an important question. I think it should be as on notice.
Well, Mr. Speaker, can I just say I've just had a quick check here.
It was the last two words. It was not that material. The question I noticed says prepared to give honest answers, not honestly answer questions.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, you are correct. I'm just going from the primary answer question from my office staff, and they've given me the wrong question, but it's basically so. I'm happy to answer according to the paper, which goes this way. To the Prime Minister, does he think it's important that his ministers, including himself, come to the House prepared to give honest answers?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee on behalf of the Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister...
Order. Yes. Order. This is a serious issue, and the House should... The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
How can he give that answer that the answer is yes when he has set the standards so low by giving inaccurate information to the House on multiple occasions this year, despite being fully briefed, for example, when he told the House that the first the GCSB briefed him on .com was 17 September this year, despite a February briefing, or when he gave two conflicting dates for when he first learned of the non-disclosure certificate having been signed by his Deputy Prime Minister?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, every effort is made to honestly answer questions, and when there are mistakes noted, then they are brought to the House's attention, as has been the case in each of those ones the member speaks of.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
How does he explain the discrepancy between his written answer to my 7 May question, asking about meetings with the Honourable Simon Power in the period between 7 April and 23 July 2011, in which he stated, and I quote him, "There is no record of what was discussed, and I have no recollection in the quotes," with the answer he gave to a supplementary question in the House yesterday, claiming that the Honourable Honourable Minister did not raise the issue of Kim.com with him at the 13 June meeting?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, because that is the case.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Well then, what is it? That his answer to my 7 May question, in which he said there was no record and no recollection of the 13 June meeting with Mr Power, is true? Or the answer he gave yesterday to the effect that Kim.com was not raised at the 13 June meeting by Simon Power? Because logically both answers cannot be true? Or is it that both answers are false?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, no.
The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Point of order.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
No what? Mr. Speaker, I'm asking him if the first question answer is true and the second one is true, that can't be. Well, they're both false and he says no.
Order. Order. The member will be aware with supplementary questions the Minister is only obliged to answer one part of a question. The final part of the member's question was, are both statements or are both answers false? And the Minister answered no, which is a perfectly legitimate answer. The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
I see, Mr. Speaker. It appears anything goes. Well, bearing in mind that the Prime Minister has given false information to the House on multiple occasions this year as...
This is quite an important subtlety involved here. The member has now just accused the Prime Minister of giving false information to the House. The member can question about the accuracy of information. I've allowed some fairly robust words to be used, as was the case even in the primary question. There was talked about the requirement to give honest answers. But I think it's going one step too far to accuse another member of giving false information. I'm sure the member can word his question just to avoid that direct accusation in a way that's acceptable. The Right
Point of order. Mr. Speaker, why on earth should I? When the Minister has apologised twice in this House and he's coming again with another apology for having given the information to the House that was not true, the opposite being false. Now, I'm not going to be restrained by that sort of dialectic argument.
Order. I think I'll accept the member's point that on the basis that information that is not correct can be defined as false. I accept the member's point.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Well, bearing in mind that the Prime Minister has given false information to the House on multiple occasions this year, despite being fully briefed, such as the first time the GCSB briefed them on .com, or the certificate to do with the Deputy Prime Minister, or yesterday that there was no record and no recollection, yet he could tell me that Simon Power did not speak about it. Bearing all that in mind, why does he not apply the same standard he applies to other ministers to himself, and step down to avoid what will be most certainly, inevitably, future deepening embarrassment to him and his colleagues?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, I think the proposition put by the member is quite ridiculous. If you just take the situation with the so-called meeting with Mr. Power, quite clearly he had no recollection when he answered your question. Upon checking, he was able to confirm that. Simple.
Point of order.
Point of order, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Mr. Speaker, but the Prime Minister told us there was no record. How could he check with no record?
Order. Order. No order. 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 I say to the Leader of the House, I'm on my feet. The member cannot dispute the answer by way of point of order. I mean, the Minister's given his answer. The question contained a number of assertions, and the Minister, in answering them, said they were ridiculous. And he's at liberty to do that in answering a question. Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
In light of the Prime Minister's answers, does he stand by his statement to TV3 last night that he voted for the purchase age of alcohol to be 20 years old? And if so, has he corrected the record of Parliament which says that Mr Key voted for the age to be 18 years of age?
The Honourable Jerry Brownlee.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Prime Minister, the vote was for the split age.
Point of order, Grant Robertson.
In light of that answer, I seek leave of the House to table the personal vote record for the purchase age vote on the alcohol reform bill that indicates a vote of 18 years from Mr Key.
Order. I think the member has made his point, but we don't table stuff that's actually in the journals for members. Question number